Real stimulus package update. I'm on YouTube now and I see all of these videos, stimulus package update, second stimulus package update, all of these news outlets talking about the stimulus package and how there's going to be now a second one. I want to give my opinion on it, what it means, what it can do, and I want to go over some rough numbers that might be very eye-opening for you because it's something I think about on a daily basis. If you follow my channel, I'm sure you know my stance on it. I'm a libertarian. I am also a capitalist. I believe in free market capitalism. That's just who I am. In this video, I am not going to sugarcoat anything. I'm just going to tell you genuinely how I feel about this. And it's hard for me to do these because I know how much people are struggling right now. But I feel like I have to say it. If I don't, I'm holding back what I genuinely feel in my heart. With that being said, this is just my opinion. Nothing in this video is to be taken as fact, as to be taken as advice. It is just my personal opinion and my personal theories. So disclaimer. So just to get my opinion out there, I think all of the stimulus packages have been a terrible thing for the economy and a terrible thing for the world economy. Please hear me out, though. Please hear me out. Because what I'm talking about is the problems in the future and what this will do as we progress through everything that we have gone through. $3.5 trillion was the amount of money the federal government took in 2019, roughly 3.5 trillion. Why do I bring that up? All of the tax money that they took in from the citizens amounted to roughly 3.5 trillion. So I want you to ask yourself, how much money did you pay in taxes in 2019? How much money are you going to be paying in taxes here in 2020? They did a little extension. They went from April into May on the extension here for everybody on this tax year. But I wanted to talk about that specific number because that number is actually relevant because this new stimulus package is roughly $3 trillion. But when you calculate how much money has been printed as a whole, you're talking about well over $10 trillion. Now, in a year and a quarter, a year and a half, they took in $3.5 trillion in 2019 from tax revenue. My theory is I wonder the best way to do it would be phrased as a question. What would happen if taxes were relieved for all of 2020 and all of 2021? Relieved, as in they're not owed anymore. What would happen, do you think, to the economy, to the American businesses that are suffering? What would happen if the entire tax burden was relieved for those 2 years? Because I have a shocking thing to say. That amount of money that would be taken in is half the amount of money that's been printed. Yeah, roughly half the amount of money that's been printed. If no tax money was taken in for an entire 2 years, 2020 and 2021, and I know there's going to be some that say, I get money back at the end of the year. That's only because you gave them money in the first place. What if your W-2s had no money taken out and you got the whole check? Would you rather have that, or would you rather have the amount of money that you've gotten in the stimulus? Me personally, I would give them back every single check. Every single check, and there would probably be 3 new employees at my warehouse. That's me personally. But I really wanted to stress that figure because the word trillion didn't used to be so often said. It was a very large word, but now it's just trillion. Poof Powell says trillion, Yellen trillion, trillion. It's like, whose money are you spending? Where are you getting this money? Because that's right, you watching this video and I are going to have to pick up this tab. That's the truth. And that tab is gone. If they're taking in 3 to 4 trillion annually, but they're spending well over 10 trillion annually. That math doesn't seem to add up. What my personal opinion on it, and this is again my personal opinion, just a complete theory, not saying to do this or anybody is doing this. I'm saying that if they said, instead of the stimulus package, you don't owe any taxes for 2020 and you don't owe any taxes for 2021. And by the way, we saved you roughly $7-8 trillion in dilution to your monetary system. In my personal opinion, I think that is relieving a burden rather than placing a burden on top of a burden. The burden is people are struggling right now. It is a rough time right now, especially for small businesses. As we go through this, what is adding a burden on top of that already terrible burden of small businesses really struggling right now is diluting the monetary system in which they're paid in. I've said this line in the past, and I will say it again. I personally think the worst thing that can happen in modern times to our modern economy is working a deflationary job, which means that your wages are the same or going down, as in you've gotten laid off or something like that. So your wages are deflationary, but your currency that you're paid in has been diluted and inflated. So you have a inflated, diluted currency supply that pays you in a wage that is deflationary and getting less. Those numbers should be flipped. The idea is the money was back to gold and silver, so the money is getting deflated in a way where it's harder and harder to get, and it's powerful money, while your wages are increasing and getting paid in a money that is worth more. You would ideally want the money that you're paid in to be deflationary with an inflationary wage. That would be the ideal scenario for a booming economy, but that's not what we have. We have the opposite. And all that this is doing is increasing and increasing and increasing that dilution and that inflation while the wages are struggling. It's so backwards. It bothers me every single day thinking about it. And I really run a risk making these videos because I don't want to be taken the wrong way, but I feel like if I give this information out there, that it can really, really help some people. Because what they are doing is saying, here's a fish for a month, whatever. Here you go. Here's a fish for a month. And when I say whatever, I don't mean that I don't mean that as in I don't care. Obviously, I care tremendously about how much people are struggling right now, and that's why I make these videos. I'm up at almost 11 o'clock at night in my warehouse making these videos because I can't get it off my mind. I'm on YouTube. I was messing around on YouTube and I see stimulus package. Let me tell you everything about how you're going to get $1,400. I want to teach somebody how to turn that money and hold it and actually get to keep it. Because right now, Michael Saylor's correct. And he's got a much better team in regards to his economists or whoever is in charge in his company on the executive levels. He's got a lot more brain power than I do. And what he related it to is if you are holding dollars right now, which would include that $1,400 or all of these combined, if you have been holding that, you are essentially holding an ice cube that inevitably will be turning into nothing and melt away. So the goal is to, when you get that ice cube of $1, what are you going to do with that inflated, diluted dollar to save it? Me personally, I'm putting it into silver and precious metals. That's my first choice. I shouldn't say that's my first choice. My first choice is building a business. Doing whatever you can to build a business, find some way to cash flow. And that could include getting a good job or doing whatever you can to get some cash flow coming in. But the next step is, how do you keep this cash flow? Because you're being paid in ice cubes that are melting. That's what I really want to put in people's minds is, I used to say in my videos, we get the dollar is a hot potato, but someone reminded me in a comment, Michael Saylor's, analogy on it being an ice cube is superior to that. And I agree. So imagine it like this. Your money is ice cubes. Every month, every 2 weeks, or whenever you get paid, or however your cash flow comes in, you get paid in ice cubes. And those ice cubes are melting. And as they do more and more of these stimulus packages, keep in mind, they only took in $3.5 trillion in 2019, and they printed well over $10 trillion in a little bit over a year. The numbers are just staggering. They're just staggering. So you get paid in these ice cubes. What are you going to do with those ice cubes? How are you going to make sure they stay frozen or accumulate into more ice cubes? Well, the key would be to convert those ice cubes into something that is actually finite, something that is actually limited, something that doesn't have an ice cube maker in the corner printing more and more ice cubes. Something like precious metals, something like Bitcoin, something like your own business, something like collectibles, something like real estate. These are the options on where to park the capital is very limited. So by this video, it's not just me, coming on here as a capitalist and being like, I don't agree with this. And, I don't want to come across as somebody that's, high on a pedestal talking from a high position. I'm not. Most people don't know this about me. And if you've been watching my live streams and stuff, I was homeless about 7 years ago, living in the back of my car, driving state to state, going pawn shop to pawn shop, trying to find collectibles to sell online. So I really don't come from a lot of money. And as this happens, I just get so worried because it seems that this is not relieving a burden. It is placing a burden on top of a burden that is inevitably going to be a much, much larger burden than we've ever seen. In 2007, we had a real estate crisis. It was a real estate bubble. 2021, this is a currency bubble. This is the monetary system itself. To me, it's so scary to think about, but I just ask myself, what would be better is if they relieve the burden of taxes for 2 years. They can even do 3-4 years straight of no taxes based on how much money they have spent. They could just print that money and put it into their own account and say that was what the citizens were going to pay us. We multiplied 3.5 trillion by 4 years. And you know what? That would be about the same as what they've printed. How many jobs would be created from that? How much savings would be held? And not only that, but how much stronger would the dollar be with less of them in the system? I'm a college dropout. I'm no Harvard graduate. I'm no Stanford graduate, Yale graduate, MIT. I'm none of that. But I can tell you that everything that I hear from Powell, from Yellen, it sounds like nails on a chalkboard to me. And seeing these YouTube videos over and over again, stimulus package update, all I think about is when we go to the gas pump, it's going to be $10 a gallon. And they're going to get that $1,400 back way faster than any of us could imagine. Because the silent tax, the real tax, is the stimulus tax of everything costing more money due to inflation, due to hyperinflation of the dollar. And it seems inevitable to me. And all we can do is protect our assets. And I hope that my videos help you think about, protecting your assets, building a business, saving your capital and putting it into something where it is going to be protected against the hyperinflation. And by the way, my video isn't sponsored by anybody. I don't have any sponsors in this video. I wanted to do this. And by the way, I also changed my poster over here to Tesla for the specific reason that I love the guy's brain. I wish he was around today to talk about his ideas and what he thought about just the current times that we were in. I wish he had this computer system that I have in front of me. I wish he could see the way the world was today. Look at him. This is a legitimate photo. Him sitting there with his Tesla coil. Could you imagine if he had the power of an iPhone back then? Back when the money was back to gold and silver. I hate to always relate things back to gold and silver, but it's true. But the real reason I wanted to change that is he said a line that really resonates with me. And I don't want to say it the wrong way, but I believe it went something along the lines of universal peace, or peace itself, can only come as a peace can only come from universal enlightenment. That's what he said, or something along the lines. I might be missing out a few words in the middle of that. By the way, I don't edit my videos. My videos are never clipped. The reason I do the timer over there in the corner is so that people know that I don't edit my videos. It's just, it doesn't seem authentic if I just constantly have to edit the videos. I just want to shoot them in one take and put these out there. But I really believe that line could help people in the future, because what I think about is the problems in society. And I know that printing more and more money isn't going to solve the problem at hand. It's giving everyone who's struggling a fish, when really, with all of that money printed, they could have given everyone a fishing pole with an ocean full of fish. But they didn't. They give everybody a fish so that they come back asking for more fish. I would rather do the opposite on this channel. I would rather teach people how to be financially free. That's what my goal is myself, and I hope that it helps you in some way in this video. But I don't think it would be fair if I didn't talk about the problems in society today that I see. The problems that I see in society is something that it doesn't take over $10 trillion to solve. It really doesn't. To feed every single person in the country that is struggling right now, I don't believe it would be anywhere near 10 trillion. To give everybody a place to live, a safe bed at night, I don't think it costs the kind of money that they've printed away, and they continue to print away. My whole outlook on it is I'm actually a big fan of Jordan Peterson's, and I've listened to a lot of his talks and seminars, and I think that's the fact that it's free on YouTube to be able to watch that stuff is incredible to me. But I'm going to relate it to this stimulus package here in a way. What he talks about is hierarchies, and how hierarchies have always been needed, and they work. Today, our hierarchy system is way out of balance, and the troubling part is it's needed, and I'm a capitalist and I believe in free market capitalism, but it's so out of balance the way that it is. If I was to make a better society, what my hope would be not to go to the people struggling and go, hey, here's, $1,400. Wait another 6 months while we at the Senate and the House, we get paid very, very, very well. And by the way, none of them missed a paycheck. None of them missed a paycheck throughout all of this. They got paid this entire time. Instead of doing that, I would rather look at what the problem is itself and go, okay, well, what's the problem? I think what the big problem is in today's times, especially right now, is the bottom of the capitalistic structure that we have, the hierarchy structure that we have, is not a fair starting ground. And what we need to do as people, in my personal opinion, is do everything in our power that the starting ground is fair for everyone. Obviously there's going to be individuals that are born into money. There's going to be, money that's been handed down, and that's going to happen. But for the larger majority of people who are struggling right now and trying to build something, really ask yourself, if you're watching this video and you want some type of motivation, I haven't had the worst hand, I haven't had the best hand, but I know what it's like to be at rock bottom. I know what it's like to be building something from the bottom. And personally, I would never want somebody to say, oh, you're struggling, here's $1,400 for you. Come back to me to get that again. I would rather be taught how to make $5,000 a month. I would rather be taught how to keep that money and multiply that money, so that I don't have to rely on them. I don't want to ask anyone for anything. I want to be self-reliant myself. And that's what I want to help share with the public in my videos is ideas on how to protect our assets, how to protect our wealth, how to become self-reliant. Those types of things are what I'm passionate about. It's scary to me, all of this stuff going on. And again, if I could point out the worst problem, it's that the bottom of the system needs to be a fair starting ground. And that's as in, making sure that if someone needs a meal, that they don't go starving on the street, they can get a meal. If someone needs a bed to sleep in, that there's a way to get them that bed or to get them the opportunity to have a good night rest. You know, caring more about mental health, caring more about people who are, you know, starving on the street is where I want to see, you know, growth. And so again, I don't want to ramble, but if I was pointing out the worst flaw in society today, it's that there is an uneven starting place. We have a structure that will work. You know, I think capitalism works, and I think the structure will work, but I think we could do a better job at giving everybody a fair starting point to enter society and grow and build their wealth, to build their business, to build their own, you know, what did the US stand for? It wasn't ever the place where they said, you know, come here and we will give you a free handout and have more power over you. That wasn't what the United States philosophies, you know, of our founding fathers. It never was that. It was, you are entitled to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And I think that everybody should have a good starting ground and have the potential to have life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness here. And as they dilute and dilute and dilute our monetary supply, it's damaging that potential, because not everybody knows that we're being paid in ice cubes that are melting away. Not everybody knows that. And I've rambled quite a bit in this video. I'm sure not everybody is going to agree with the things that I've said, but please, you know, the way we can grow is put a comment down below. If you agree on some of the things that I've said and you want to add to that, throw a comment down below on some of the stuff I missed out on. If you don't agree with me, please put a comment down below and make your voice heard, because that's how we can learn together. I hope that there was some useful information in here. Thank you so much for being part of my channel. Have a great rest of your evening, and I will see you at the next video. Signing out.